So Spirig is leading the chasers. The leading three approaching the Mooley Point Lighthouse in the middle of their third lap of 9, and this huge pack is doing its level best to hunt them down. The trio make the turn, and we can see that the gap has now come down to about 10 seconds possibly between the leaders and the chasers, and it won't be long. I thought it might be within lap 3, it might be just towards the end of lap 3, possibly early in lap 4, when Jenkins, Duffy and Zafiris are swallowed up and become part of the pack.
Yeah, we're not getting a lot of names from that second pack, but certainly we saw earlier Rachel Plummer, who is the training partner of Katie Zafiris and Sarah Drew. They train with Joel Filial, so she'll be in a great place if she manages to ride up to her teammates. And a strong runner. She finished 6th at the Gold Coast, and she was, as I mentioned earlier, European champion in 2013. Also looking for Annie Haug. She's had a funny couple of years, hasn't she, from being so strong in 2013 and so dominant to changing coaches, having a few problems with her federation, and we really haven't seen a great deal of her.
And what's her status now? Because she left her training group and went back to the German federation. Has that changed again?
Well, I know over the winter months she's actually hooked up with Jamie Turner and Gwen Jorgensen and their little group, and doing some training with them. But I think actually she does have her own coach, and she just sort of links up with them when she's travelling around the world and needs some training partners. Yeah,
we haven't really seen too much of Annie Haug since she placed second in the opening race of last season in Auckland, second behind Stimpson. That was actually her best result of the 2014 campaign. The leaders back behind the stadium. Capacity 69,000.
It's interesting to see, isn't it, what goes on at the back of the pack, because actually some of these athletes here are taking it pretty easy. They're kind of like on a bit of a Sunday ride, but actually all the energy is coming from the front of the pack, and they're just getting pulled along, and really they don't really have to work that hard to be able to draft.
So into the new athletic stadium, the Green Point Stadium, with the blue running track and the infield and all the paraphernalia that's required for the triathlon there. And at the end of the third lap of 9, we have one big group formed. It was inevitable, really. And so Jenkins, Duffy and Zafiris are now within that group, and it also contains Emma Pallant, Vicky Holland. Annie Haug has come through in that group as well. Huge pack now. This could be interesting for the rest of the ride to see who positions themselves where. Sarah True, currently 3rd in the World Cup, I beg your pardon, 4th in the World Triathlon Series standings at the moment, is in that group. 28 riders together. That's quite a pack. Only 48 started the race, and the majority of them are within this front group. The leaders continue to push quite a frantic pace at the front.
Just seeing the front of the pack there, and the colours of Great Britain, red, white and blue. Emma Pallant and Helen Jenkins, Vicky Holland up. That's the first time we've seen that this year, Matt, on the World Triathlon Series. 3 athletes from Great Britain, female athletes right up the front. And it's really good to see, and a fantastic performance from Emma Pallant, who has struggled in these World Triathlon Series events, but certainly holding her own here today.
So they're into the Green Point Athletic Stadium. Thankfully some seats being taken now. Spirig, Jenkins, Schoretz, Duffy, Holland and Haug, Densham and Pallant. Marie Raby, the best of the South Africans, followed by Rebecca Robisch and Laura Lindemann, the 2 Germans. Margit Vanek from Hungary, Sarah Vilic from Austria, Yuri Ide from Japan, Sarah True, Katie Zafiris. Number 1 in this race, Lindsay Jerdanek, Frintova, Sala Marua, Rachel Klammer, Pamela Oliveira, who was one of the first to show after the swim. Total of 28 still in the front pack, and the Olympic champion, who's been sorely missed in her absence from the World Triathlon Series races, is forcing the pace alongside Great Britain's Helen Jenkins from Bridgend. Flora Duffy, who was with the breakaway pack after the swim, is still out in towards the front of the pack as well, as they begin lap 6 of 9.
Yeah, I did think we might see a little bit more action on the front of this lead pack here. But I think there's a bit of unknown here, isn't there, with Emma Pallant. She doesn't know what it's like to come off the front of, of a race like this. Helen Jenkins, she doesn't know how her legs feel. Spirit raced a marathon last weekend, so I wouldn't be surprised if that's why we're not perhaps seeing some of these athletes that we'd normally be seeing trying to make a break, just kind of sitting in now and biding their time for the run.
A British interest in this front pack as well. The returning Helen Jenkins and the returning Vicky Holland alongside Emma Pallant. Just 2Ks to go for the leaders. You can see the finish line at the end of the bike stage signalled at the second transition area within the Greenpoint Athletics Stadium. Yeah, the top 5 last year, I'll give you the top 10 actually. So it was Stimpson with a time of 1 hour 46 minutes and 11 seconds. It'll be shorter than that today because of the single lap in the water. Jenkins was second, 7 seconds behind. Then Jorgensen and True. I know Marua was the best of the Japanese in 5th, then Howe, then Kirsten Sweetland, who's not here today. Vicky Holland was 8th, Emma Moffat was 9th, she's not here, and Emma Jackson, who's also not here, was 10th a year ago. That was the top 10 in 2014. Burns towards the back. Bonin has been keeping out of trouble, able to draft in behind the other 27. But now there's a little jostling for position. With the end of the cycle stage approaching, athletes are beginning to think about the arrival and departure in and from transition.
And Nicola Spirit, the Olympic champion, still up there, amazingly 33 years old, and she's been racing in triathlon since 1997. She's been racing that long that I used to race against her, and that's saying something. It's hard to believe, isn't it? But 33 now and racing since 1997, so I don't think there's an athlete here in this front pack that has more experience than she does.
Yeah, and like her, you're still in your 30s.
I wish. Not far out of it.
So a few glances behind now and preparations. You can see the riders reach down and start working their shoes, unstrapping the Velcro, looking for a way to ease the feet out of the shoes and rest them on top so they can arrive at the dismount line cleanly and sharply, put their feet on the carpet, and without missing a beat, run towards their allotted slot in the transition area, hang up their bikes, put on their running shoes, dump their helmets. You've got to get that right, of course. We saw, was it Jorgensen last time out, who took the 15-second penalty for missing the target with a helmet or a wetsuit or something? I can't remember what, and she still won the race, of course.
Yeah, I was going to say 15 seconds doesn't hurt her. They'll need a couple of minutes, won't they?
Oh, okay, good idea.
So it's been a long, hard ride around the streets of Cape Town, but now they arrive at the Greenpoint Athletics Stadium on 2 wheels for the final time after an hour and a quarter in the water and on 2 wheels. And it looks like it might be Spirig, I think, who leads them through, the Olympic champion, first to dismount. They've got to be careful because those shoes bash along the carpet if the pedals continue spinning. Spirig first to hang up her bike. We'll join her at her transition point here. Right shoe on, left shoe on. Picks up her glasses and heads out. This is further down. This is Helen Jenkins, who's not made the cleanest transition, possibly just a little out of practice, Helen Jenkins, but she's sprinting along the carpet trying to make up for the lost time. 28 came in quick succession. Emma Pallant's on her way for Great Britain. 28 make their way, but 2 have hit the front early. Crucially, one of them is the Olympic champion, Nicola Spirig.
Interesting, I was just talking about experience, and the one with the smoothest transition there was Nicola Spirig, which isn't bad, is it, considering she hasn't really been racing these tough, super fast kind of transition style races for a long time. That,
I think, is Jenkins in 3rd. Certainly, I think it's one of the British triathletes trying to close that gap.
Vicky Holland.
Vicky Holland, you're right, it's Vicky Holland. An explosive exit from transition from the Olympic champion, taking it on right from the get-go. In the first 500 metres, Nicola Spirig has set out her intentions. Frintova it is, alongside Spirig. The upright, rocking motion, familiar for Vicky Holland behind. Annie Haug is up there as well. Haug's in contention. The other German, Salah, I beg your pardon, is on the left. Casper Zafir is on the right, wearing the number 1. All the main contenders starting to bunch together now. We'll keep an eye out for Helen Jenkins. She had to work hard after she got her running shoes on to close the gap to Spirig. Has she managed to do it?
Yeah, Sarah True there, obviously just biding her time a little bit. She's right at the back. I can just see her there. Quite unusual, but she's a negative splitter as well, as is Gwen Jorgensen, and that in running terms is when you tend to run the second half of the race a little bit faster. Surprised not to see her a little bit further up. Nicola Spirig leading the way though.
Now remember, this run will comprise 4 2.4 kilometre laps, and then the spectacular 400-metre lap around the athletics track to conclude. We've never seen it before. We have the facility here to enable it to happen, and we hope that it's as entertaining as the organisers have planned.
Well, one thing's for sure, we don't know who's going to win this race this week, do we? Because normally when Gwen's in here, it's a kind of a bit of a foregone conclusion. So a pretty exciting run, because at the moment, I'm not putting my money on anyone, because I think there's sort of a good 7 or 8 athletes that could take this win here.
Absolutely. And within that 7 and 8, we will include Helen Jenkins and Vicky Holland. Emma Pallant will need to run a terrific race, but she's up there at the moment in about 6th position. Zafir is a little further back. Just ahead of her is Helen Jenkins, but that early break from Spirig has been checked, and Holland has gone shoulder to shoulder with the Olympic champion at the front of the field. It's been a cracking race.
It really has. A couple of factors though here, I think, in the end result, as I mentioned earlier. Really, it's of course fitness at this point is really important, but it's not always the fittest person that wins. It's the mentally fittest person that wins really at this point, because it's stressful now. It's really hurting. There's a couple of kilometres to go. The pace is going up. Everyone's thinking, I can make the podium, and that makes your heart rate soar even higher than what it already is. So really, for me at this point, it's the mentally toughest that wins, and not necessarily the sort of physically toughest.
Vicky Holland still holding her own here. Annie Haug is at the back of this group of 10. In fact, we seem to have a group of 6, followed by a group of 4. A little uphill climb there just as they come into the stadium. 1 or 2 of them having to work a fraction harder, but now they get softer ground underfoot for a few moments as they complete the penultimate lap on the roads. Next time they come to the stadium, they will have a 400-metre lap to race. Get a taste of the noise levels that await them at the end of the final lap.
You can't tell what Nicola's thinking. She looks like she's working very hard, but she's always kind of got those big glasses on. You can't see the eyes. You really don't know what's going on behind them, and however much she's hurting, you know, she's going to keep pushing herself.
I can't remember the last time we watched a World Triathlon Series race when we had this many in contention with, 2.5 Ks to run. Normally by now there's, well, certainly within the women's contest, because it's normally Jorgensen on her own, normally by now they're quite well spread. You kind of get a feeling of who's going to finish first, second, third and fourth, but it's in this race in Cape Town today, it's wide open. There are potentially still 10 winners of this contest.
No, it really is, and it makes for very exciting viewing. I mean, we love to watch Gwen because she's a phenomenal athlete, but this certainly makes it more exciting, because actually I can't call it right here. I really can't. I can say Vicky Holland's looking incredibly strong. She's looking very relaxed. Emma Pallant seems to be dropping off the pace, but her face as well looks very relaxed. Vicky there now just deciding she's gonna push the pace, and this is the time to give it a little bit of a go. Test the other athletes. Have a look what everyone else is doing around you.
Holland took it on for a while at the start of the run, then she eased off, moved back into 4th or 5th position, but now she fancies the front running duty again, and that's where she's positioned herself at the head of the lead group. Vicky Holland of Great Britain leads them through. Katie Zafiris of the USA alongside Sophia Salah, and the Olympic champion Nicola Spirig is bouncing along quite comfortably in 4th position. Vicky Holland has moved into a slightly elevated gear with Helen Jenkins on her return, like Vicky